this? Is it as good for you as me is? Kissing wherever we want, touching wherever I want. Girl, you so bad I'm gon' flaunt. Everybody watching, so I'm gon' stunt. Stare at that ass as you walk in the front. Drive through the interstate, you roll the blunt. Go anywhere and we do what we want. Yeah. Love everywhere, we fuck what we want. You are the one that I want. So many more before you, but you are the one. Where's my trophy? I feel like I won. Yeah, yeah. Why can't life just be like this? Waking up to your sweet soft kiss. Been through hell just to reach this bliss. I learned a lot, but the past not missed. My heart in your hands, so don't make a fist. Before you get mad, just give me a kiss. Girl, I'ma do it, you don't need to wish. Divine, feminine, intuitive, submit. Yeah. Waiting for this day ever since I was a kid. Yeah. Never see your face, I knew when to see it. Yeah. Peace. Wrote it before you, I know I'ma see it. Yeah. I wrote it before you, I know I'ma see it. Let's make a baby. Let's make a life. Peace, family. It's the Hood Mystic, representing www.hoodmystic. Hoodmystic. These words that I become crazy. Hoodmystic.com, representing astrology, tarot, daily energy, words, and things like that to, you know, give people some form of inspiration. And maybe you watch this at the end of your day. I don't know. Different times all throughout the world. Just want to say peace to the Patreon family, patreon.com/TheHoodMystic. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for the listeners. Thank you for the viewers. Thank you for the subscribers. Everybody that's participating in this astrology thing that we call life. Not going to really talk too much about me. Just get into this information. So we have the moon conjunct Chiron. If you can look at the left side or the right side, depending on where you're looking. But right. Yeah. The moon is conjunct Chiron this morning, actually. And really, what does that mean? What is that indicating? To me, that's indicating solutions on real healing. But will you use them? Will you utilize those solutions? And these are found in the form of dreams, visions, insights. You know, a lot of things are happening. I woke up to like some people telling me some in-depth dreams that they had last night, and I didn't even get a chance to read them because I wanted to kind of do this live. Appreciate that. But really what's going on is the truth is being unveiled on who you are on a spiritual level. Now, there are two things that's happening. Like I said, we're living in two different worlds. Jimmy up the street might not be feeling peace. Jimmy up the street might not be feeling any of this energy, but you feel a huge cosmic shift. What is going on? Should you and Jimmy be feeling the same way? Not exactly. Spiritual enlightenment, spiritual awakening. It's not about who was awoke first or who is awoke the best. It's just personal. There's been information that I've been hearing for years that I'm now just ready to take a look at, to ready to like finally deal with. So now, and that's just for anybody. Like, your spiritual awakening may be now. And the problem is, maybe if you had a spiritual awakening in the past, see, I've been doing this spiritual shit for a long time. If I would have rested on my laurels 3 years ago, I'd have been effed up. And I'm sure there was parts of me that may have thought, okay, I done figured it out. I got it. But ultimately, this thing keeps on going. So when you start to, you know, prop people up and propagate them and make them feel special based upon this spirituality, like, you need to be very mindful that that spiritual guru that you're propagating, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, that spiritual guru is you. And are you available to deal with that reality that you are a spiritual force? Like, I don't talk to everybody in the world. I talk to a small group of influencers. I talk to a small group of gods on the daily. Like, I only want to track gods and things of that nature. So waking up to the fact that you're God. What do I mean? Because if we can look at Chiron, and that line pointing downwards to the nodes, that blue line pointing away from Chiron is a trine towards Chiron. And so when you talk about this spiritual enlightenment, this is not to play. This is not, playtime. This is not isolation time. This is not, I'm this, I can say all this cool shit on Facebook. Like, we have to be grown up when it comes to this spirituality. Like, there is no rules, but that doesn't mean that there should be no structure. Like, rules and structure are two different things. Structure is like a pipe. I need structure for my pipe to shoot so if I have a heater and I want to heat the whole house, then I need pipes with structure. So the heat can now, go throughout my whole home, as opposed to no structure and then just having, a bonfire at the basement of my house. Like, that wouldn't really work out well. So there has to be structure. There has to be us coming together in an adult, grown-up way. However that looks for you. It could be businesses, it could be, boards, it could be adult relationships, it could be, just adult conversations where you're able to be truthful, as opposed to the relationship that you're currently in. And that doesn't have to be romantic, but I'm just talking about the relationships with people where you're not able to show up in your true self. I got a lot of astrology to talk to, so let me just get through it. And so Mercury has a square, and today, since it is Wednesday, since, we are wise, we don't let the planets rule over us. We rule the planets. We may not even know that Wednesday represents Mercury. So by having this discussion and having these conversations, we know that, Wednesday is more of our mind, where we take control of our mind. So Mercury has some lessons with Jupiter. Since it was going retrograde with this square to Jupiter, now it's going back direct, meaning that this energy, this square to Jupiter, Mercury square to Jupiter, was something that we were really going to have to be mindful of, based upon the second decan placement of Mercury having a retrograde, which is ruled by Jupiter, and then the square to Jupiter, meaning that there was some message that needed to be really honed in on our minds at a very deep level. So over this past month, what has been the theme with your mind? Of course, we think about a lot of different things, but our mind has been given some different type of information. Now, do we act on it? And so if we decide to act on the new information, then that presents a square, and that means that we have to change directions. And that's the problem. You understand what I'm saying? When we have to ultimately change our directions and keep, so I'm realizing that I'm a god. So basically, let me simplify this. Mercury is realizing that it's a god, and it's connected to Jupiter. Everything about it is saying, okay, you're a god. But our lives have not been fully aligned to us being gods. We've been thinking about ourselves as human beings, having a spiritual experience, when it's the other way around. And so you have to understand the difference between redundancy and repetition. Speaking on Jupiter, speaking on this energy over and over again, is because we simply can forget that we're gods. Very easily, we can get into our emotional patterns and really forget that this life is about creating new memories. We can slip real fast into nostalgia without even fully realizing it. So it's very important to not get into redundancy, where you're saying a bunch of things that don't mean anything, and really deal with repetition. So once you get an idea, I'm God, this is something that you have to keep reiterating and repeating to yourself. Basically, because we're dealing with the mind, and the mind accepts things through repetition and repetition alone. Mercury in conjunct Pluto. Are you able to project yourself in the way that will align yourself with your particular future? Since it's an in conjunction, there's a misunderstanding. Our minds does not fully understand transformation. It's hard. for our mind, I appreciate you as well. Our minds have a difficult time with accepting the fact that everything is not everything. There's more to this than everything. So how do you begin to understand this energy? You have to understand that transformation is very normal. You have to get into information. You have to look for people who have this experience in life that documented it. I mean, at least this is what I do. I learn from other people who have lived before me, who have this same experience that I've had and have left clues, you know, things that we can begin to do to connect to ourselves. Now, it's not gonna happen. Our fairy godmother is not going to visit us at night and say, you know, you're God. And even if they do that, we still have to act out, you know, this God level. We can't just, it's not a passive thing. It's not something that we can simply think about. So as it's in conjunct Pluto, we have to be fully aware and fully aligned to the left turns that we need to make, or the right turns that we need to make, or basically just what directions do we want to change. Mercury sextile Venus, and it's also squaring Pluto. So Venus is squaring Pluto, but Mercury is sextiling Venus. So as we approach the 25th degree mark of Venus, probably in a week, Venus will begin at 25 degrees. And what Venus will be doing is entering a shadow zone, shadow retrograde zone. And in about 6 weeks, 5 weeks, Venus will be retrograde. So I'm just saying that to say there is a lesson coming up in our love lives and the things that we love. And the thing of it is forgiveness. If we can understand this going into it before it happens, it won't shock you. It won't, you know, it won't be weird, and it won't be trauma either. Because if we don't clear the trauma, when people come from our past, then that trauma arises. And so this is why we've been fully working with this Jupiter and Scorpio, because Jupiter reclaiming what's true to us, rising above karma, is something that's available to all of us. Now, are we going to choose to do that? And so this is the point of this message. I'm working to a point, but you got to be patient with me. So burying hatchets and holding on to grudges, like, are you able to move forward or not? Suggested readings, like as far as books, of course, at any time. Just really give me the subject, because there's so many books and things of that nature. Like if there's a book or anything like that, you might need suggestions and things of that nature. I got hella books, but this is really a time of letting go of the past, and you could actually be connecting with people from the past. You actually could be healing those past relationships. You actually could be forgiving, but you know how we are. How many people are going to do that? How many people are ready to bury the hatchet? How many people have really let go of that trauma and things of that nature? This is why we're clearing the trauma, because you know, everything comes back. And we're not doing nothing for nothing. So hopefully during this summer, we've been really working on clearing trauma, because as Venus approaches her 25th and she enters into her shadow zone, there will be a lesson. But Venus retrogrades are longer than Mercury retrogrades, and they're more intense in my opinion. So just like Mercury had a lesson for us, Venus has a lesson for us as it begins its retrograde period in 6 weeks. And I just want us to be mindful of that, because Venus presently is square Pluto. So more or less of a transformational vibe there. You know, are you dealing with superficial surface level shit and still trying to be conscious? Because it's not gonna work. And I know a lot of us are past that point, but a lot of us are not past that point. A majority of us are still dealing with the surface, superficial level. and still trying to understand transformation. Well, transformation doesn't work like that, because transformation by its very definition is something outside of what you see on a superficial level. It is the exact opposite of that. So Mercury in conjunct Neptune, finally, it's where there is a lot of stuff on our minds, where we don't know where we're headed. We don't know what to do. It's a lot of stuff on our minds, like Mercury. Like, I can imagine all of these things, all of these thoughts going on in my mind. What Orisha am I working with? I'm working with Ogun Balandeo, Balladayjo. That's the Orisha that I'm working with presently. He been working with me. He been working with me, getting me all the way together. And so we have options, but we also need clarity and knowing the difference between clarity and options, because options and choices are two different things. But ultimately, we need to have that focus and clarity and presence of mind to really go for what we know, which is within ourselves. And from that point, we're fully guided. But if you're not focused and you're not clear on what's really important outside of the things that's going on in our mind, we have a lot of things going in our mind, a lot of different stuff, different options and things like that. Ultimately, though, you have to do what's best for you. You have to do what's best for you. And so I titled this video, Love You to Death, because there are ideologies, there are thoughts that keep us away from our truth and our minds. Like our mind, you know, these things, they inject into our mind and they disrupt our mind. And when our mind is disrupted, when our mind is blocked, when our mind is going through difficult things, then that's like how many times have you been like depressed and not want to do shit? So that's why I gotta stay positive. That's why I gotta keep positive people around me who I feel positive. Like, if you make me feel a certain type of way, that's all that matters. I don't care how a person feels, because my sanity and my peace of mind is how I stay functional. The reason that people may be dysfunctional is that they're around people who just love them to death. You know, you have to realize that enabling grown-ass people is not loving them. Fearing people is not loving them. You know, people like when you validate their sadness, when you validate your pain. But you ever tried to work and build with a person, try to make some money with a person? It's like they freeze. At least this is my experience. You know, not everybody you can work with, not everybody you can build with, because not everybody is built for that. So if you are that type of person, then you owe it to yourself to be around people that you can build with. Because if you're around somebody right now and you're not building with them, what are you doing with them? You're just passing time? Okay, it's kind of weird, but I'm not here to judge. And so we have an interesting reading. I just wanted to look at this for a second. So it's flanked by the 7th, right? So the 7 of Cups and the 7 of Swords. So this reading is like, just imagine your best burger, right? I stole this from Bill Cosby, so don't judge me. Just imagine your best burger. You know, you like it with drizzled onions and bacon and cheese and, you know, it'll be your best burger. And then you get some molded buns and you put it on there and then they serve it to you. Are you going to eat that burger? No, you're not going to eat that burger, because that burger got moldy bread. So this is what's happening in the conscious community. We getting all of this good conscious mojo, right? We talking to angels, we talking to demons, we traveling up to the ethers, we playing spades with God, Jesus, like we doing everything spiritual. But when it comes to our terrestrial life, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Here go this bun. Here go this sandwich with this moldy bun. You don't want to eat it? But you was just talking to God the other day and all of this fly conscious stuff. So there has to be a level of morality, and I'm not saying that to be nobody's reverend or to make anybody feel a certain type of way. I'm saying that these things are blocks to spiritual attainment because they're of the physical world. And I don't care what it was. It could be hacky sack. You know, I'm not like, but the things that we love, the things that we truly love, the things that we truly like on this physical world are the things that are truly bringing us down and truly are blocking us to everything that we experience on the inside. This is not a 9 to 5. It's also a 5 to 9. That's really important, what you do after the work. Cause it's important. Like I can show up any type of way. I can look good and like I could wear a tie, get my hair cut, and have people, you know, I used to dress like this for no reason in Cleveland because I knew nobody knew me. I just moved to Cleveland. I knew I didn't have no job. I had money, but I didn't have no job. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna just buy shirts and ties so people can like take me seriously. And I don't know if that worked or not, but I was on a corporate board. I know that, making major decisions, and I was just a nigga off the street. But I dressed in a tie and things of that nature. So it's like, we have to be morally sound, aligned to our spiritual progress. Now, there is a lot of people who deal with spiritual energy and the spirits just be like, oh, just deal with chaos or deal with black magic or something like that. And they might feel spiritually aligned, but they don't realize that they have gotten rejected. They have gotten kicked out of heaven based upon their reality. They just want shit. They just want a girl. They just want a nice car. They just want a nice house. That's all they want. So why even get into spiritual shit at all in the first place? Because there's people with nice cars, girls, big ass houses who aren't spiritual at all. They just focus on what they want. And so when we think of spirituality, there's a lot of meat and potatoes. And it's more of an appearance too, but that appearance comes from deep within you. So this tarot of the day is the sevens flanking the message is based upon, you know, us thinking that we can show up conscious and we can show up spiritual, and we're really not. We're really not. It's an internal thing. You know, our fortune, everything that we can actually accomplish is really understanding our responsibility. And so if we understand our responsibility, that means that we understand that we are responsible. If we have control of our own personal responsibility, if the white man ain't holding us down, if nobody is holding us down, if we have full responsibility in this moment, that means we have full power to manifest anything that we want. But are you not? But you have to really fully understand that you're responsible and that power is in your hands. You have to wield that power. And if that power is in the government, in China, you know, wherever you can imagine power. If I say, what is power? If I do like the, where I show you a picture of something, like picture recognition. And if I show you a picture of something, the first thing should pop up is power. Like everything should be power. You should be focusing on your power, and you're responsible for your power. Nobody can grant you your power. No guru, no mystic, no shot of ayahuasca. It's ridiculous, right? Like we think that taking drugs is going to wake us up. And then we spread that message. No, you'll just be taking another drug. And you'll be in another fantasy. So it's really important that we learn that it's not about this sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or alcohol, or none of that. Those are experiences, and you know, everybody from time to time may do a little something or do something of that. But we're talking about spirituality, where it's a level of silence, a level of focus. the level of concentration. Can you concentrate and focus while you having sex or drinking and smoking and all of that? I think that's the whole point of doing it, is that it takes your concentration off. It knocks your concentration to the side. So it's very important that if spirituality is important to you, you deal with spiritual things and rise up out of the physicality. Because the physicality has a solution for you, but you're not gonna like the solution. You have so much power, you have so much ability, as the Princess of Dis points out, but are you ready to use it? Or are you connected to the Seven of Swords, which represents a lie, an ideology that you've adopted? And this ideology could range from racial, gender, social, all types of things that you've attached to that are no longer serving you. And you're not even, if the conversation is that the power is within you and we have to utilize it and bring this power source forward, then what is the conversation about? What would be my question? Hoodmystic@gmail.com is the website. The email if you want to contact me for readings or things of that nature. PayPal.me/TheHoodMystic. PayPal.me/TheHoodMystic. Hoodmystic38 is Cash App. But so basically, your mind is under attack. And if you don't fight for your mind, if you don't get your mind back, then there's no telling. Like, I don't necessarily know what a person's agenda is because I'm so caught up on my own agenda. You know, people think that agendas are bad, but that's because they don't have their own agenda. As conscious people, 38 is 11. 3 plus 8 is 11, and I just like that. I tried Hoodmystic 11 and I was tooken, so I just did 38. And it's my ad. But otherwise, it's just important that we really connect to ourselves, because you know, you can connect to your mama and you be really fucked up. You could connect to your daddy and you would be really fucked up. You could connect to women because you a woman and be really fucked up. You could connect to manhood as an idea and be really fucked up. You could connect to black people and just think that, oh, it's another black person, I'm safe, and be really fucked up. You could be a white person and think, oh, it's other white people, I'm safe, and be really fucked up. You could be a Chinese person and see other Chinese people and think you're in a safe zone and end up really fucked up. It's not dependent on race or groups. It's dependent on you if you're a spiritual being. If you're a spiritual being, then all groups, everything is fucked up to you. Everybody is trying to take something away from you, not on purpose. It's the fact that you know more than them and you may not know that you know more than them. And that's not like you know more than them. It's just that they don't know shit. And you know something. So the fact that you know something makes you the king of the world. And so what are you going to do about that? Because most people don't know shit. Most people just know what other people tell them. And so the things that we've built on, the things that we've talked on have came from our dreams, have came from our visions, have came from the higher realms. So of course people are going to argue with us. Of course people are not going to like us. Of course people are going to feel some type of way. But we have to begin to continue and to build and take our own self seriously, our own spirituality seriously. No matter what. I know people is copying me and doing other things like that, but I'm not copying nobody, so I don't give a shit. I'm not copying anybody. It's original. So it's just important for you to discover and develop your own original ideas. And you know, instead of copying, you can start to cultivate. And so this is what we're really talking about. So, you know, hope everybody has a wonderful day. I have to start mine, get my schooling on, get my learning on, and things like that. So, peace to the family. Have a good one.